And the thing is that when you see other people being successful and having and making money from trading and all of this, you're like, if they are doing it, why can't I do it? And that's when you sit back and analyze and you say, okay, I'm not doing it because I'm over trading, I'm over leveraging, I'm not following my plan, I have no risk management, like everything is wrong.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another TFT interview. Today, I have the pleasure to host Rafael from Miami. Welcome, Rafael.
Hey, Anna, thank you so much for having me. It's a
It's,
pleasure.
it's a pleasure for me as well to have you here. So, can you tell us first a little bit about yourself and what got you into trading?
All right, so my name is Rafael. As Anna said, I'm from Miami, and I first got introduced to trading by IML about 6 years ago. So I first started seeing Forex through IML, and then I was able to learn a little bit, but I don't know if you're aware, IML is like a multi-level marketing company.
Yeah.
So I got introduced through there. I didn't really stay in IML. I learned the very basics from them. 1 month later, I kind of like did my own thing and I started looking into crypto. So I went from Forex to crypto, started doing crypto, and it wasn't really trading. It was more like investing in crypto. That's where everything started. And then, so after crypto, came back to Forex, started trading my own live account with Hugo's Way. Back in the day, that was a while back. So yeah, the beginning of my actual trading journey was horrible, right? Like the first 2 to 3 years, it was just constantly losing money. So I had a job as a dispatcher with trucks, like in a trucking company, and I would make around $400, $500 a week, right? Every single week, I would put that money into an account on Monday and blow the entire account in one day. So it was very like that, like it was gambling at that point, right? Like I tried to make so much money that like my goals were so big that I ended up not making any money at all. So that was like the beginning stage of my trading. And I think part of that came from like seeing stuff on social media, like just wanting to be successful so badly that I didn't realize that instead of actually like getting to the success that I wanted, I was just losing everything that I had. I had no plan, no structure, nothing, right? Yeah. So that was like kind of like the start of my trading journey.
So you learned lots of things by trial and error. Did you have other mentors, or how did you kind of like structured everything and created a plan? Did you have mentors? Did you do it by yourself? Like, how did you improve? And how was like the learning process afterwards?
So from IML, I was able to get the basics, but again, my charts in the beginning looked like I had a bunch of indicators. It was like very messy, right? You know how you know those memes about like those beginner charts? Honestly, that was my chart.
It was my chart at the beginning as well.
Yeah. So in the beginning, it was like bad, right? And then so in order to actually like start learning, I would go on YouTube for hours. I'm talking about hours and hours, just watching different videos, getting ideas from different people. I didn't have like that mentality of like, let me find someone and just stick to that one plan. I think that is a better way to do it because I was learning from everybody and everybody has a different like mindset when it comes to analysis, this and that. But at the end of the day, I felt like technical analysis itself is like, you know, there's different ways of viewing the market, but there's only so much you can learn, right? So after it got to the point where I started looking at all these videos, I kind of started finding what I liked for myself, right? So what I found to be like, I can follow this process consistently. That was kind of like the change from like the beginner charts to like slowly improvising, like slowly incrementing those skills. And now it's like a completely different. Like I have zero indicators. The only one I have is the 50 smooth moving average. Everything else is like pure price action, market structure. So it's a completely like different game right now compared to before.
It's funny because I feel that like almost all the traders start with thinking the more indicators you have, the better your analysis is gonna be. And it's funny now when you look back at a screenshot that you've taken a couple of years ago, and you're like, oh, what's that? So why did trading appeal to you? Like, was it because you thought that you're gonna make money fast, or like was it something else behind it?
So from the start, since I was like 14 years old, I started doing Shopify first. Yeah, I started doing Shopify dropshipping at 14. So I was always into like the whole online money, like making money online. That was like my whole thing. Like the entire thing I was focused on was that. So drop shipping didn't work for me. Then I got introduced to trading and I was like, you know what? This is a great opportunity. Again, at first, my mindset was completely wrong, right? I got into trading for the right reason, but I didn't treat it like correctly. I wanted to make money and I saw an opportunity, but I didn't take the opportunity like seriously. I saw it as like, wow, I can click a button and make $300 in 5 minutes. That's insane, right? Essentially, my motive behind getting into trading was being able to have freedom, be at home, trade from my phone. That was appealing to me. That's what I wanted, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the actual process to get there and do it was completely wrong.
So what are the failures that you cherish the most?
I feel like in the beginning, losing I didn't lose a big amount of money at once, but it was like I was a young kid with $500 every week, and those $500 would be gone by Monday. So I feel like after doing that consistently for so long, it got to the point where it's like either we change or, what am I doing here? Right? Because I'm not getting anywhere. Like my goal is to make money, and the only thing I'm doing is losing money. And I didn't see the reason why. It actually took me quite a while to realize that, because the first 3 years of my like trading career per se were more like on and off, right? Because I would come into the market, start trading consistently, losing money consistently because I had no process, no psychology, nothing. It was like gambling at that point. And then I would take a break and I would say, you know what? I think this may be a scam. Like many people, right? Many beginners like, oh, trading is a scam. So I would go back, continue saving up money. A few months later, come back, do the same thing again. And actually what's interesting is I moved to Orlando and I'm in law school. When I started law school, I was pretty much broke. So I had barely any money. What made that transition from losing money to actually making money wasn't even Forex. It was options trading. So I got a loan from my law school, it's crazy. When I came to law school, they give you like money so you can cover your rent, your expenses and all of that, because you're not supposed to be working when you're in law school. You're supposed to be a full-time student. So they gave me a $12,000 loan. And instead of me saving that loan and like having it for a rainy day, I went and put that into Robinhood. But that was actually the best decision I could have made, because I put that money into Robinhood. I started trading options with limited knowledge that I've learned from YouTube and all that stuff. And it went well. So in like 3 months, it went from 12,000 to 250,000. And that was like what completely like shifted everything for me. So once I made that amount of money, I was like, all right, so we have a little bit more experience now. Everything went well. Let's take out that money and let's switch to Forex. I was like, okay, if I'm doing well in options, why can't I do better in Forex? If in reality, Forex is a lot simpler than options. When you trade options, you have like expiration dates, you have like all the Greeks and everything that affect the price. And I was like, Forex is just saying, okay, I'm going to enter here. This is where price is going to go. You're just predicting, like, you know what I mean? You just have to predict where price is going to go. You don't have to go against time or anything else. So I made that switch. And that's when I started seeing success. I also have to give it to prop firms though, too, because the whole risk management aspect of my trading now is at the level that it's at because of prop firms.
It's very interesting that, like, how was your mindset when you started with options? What do you think was the reason why everything kind of like switched for you?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm the type of person that I believe in, like, if you have a positive mind and you like really believe something is going to happen, like it's eventually going to happen regardless. And when I went into the options trading itself, I literally got all the money that I was given from the school, which was 12,000, and I put it into the account. And everybody was telling me, don't do it. Like, that's not smart. Save it up. You need money for rent, for food, for this. And I was just like, no, I know like this is going to work. I did some research on YouTube, did research on the companies. I really liked options trading, like possibly even more than like Forex. And the reason why I liked it more was because it dealt with stocks. So I was more involved in I was in the electric vehicle companies when they first came out. I loved researching about stocks. That was more of a passion to me than actually like trading currencies. But from a business standpoint, once I already like did what I had to do in options, it made more sense to go to the Forex route because one, I had done it in the past. And two, I'm like, all right, if I take this seriously, I can make a lot of money, especially with prop firms. So when I saw prop firms were around, I was like, I'm not risking my own money ever again. As long as prop firms exist, I will never trade my own life capital ever again because it just doesn't make sense to me.
So what would you say are the skills that you had to develop to become profitable and to change this gambling mindset into like a professional business mind?
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest shift. And I feel like that happened over time. It slowly started transitioning like one thing at a time. The first thing that I had to like completely do is stop over trading, over leveraging. That was my biggest problem. And the reason why I would do that, like I'm the type of person that when I make mistakes or when I'm doing something wrong, I know that I'm doing something wrong. Like I can tell, I can diagnose myself. The problem is actually fixing it, right? So I knew that what I was doing was wrong. And once when I lost that much money over time, it was like inevitable. I'm like, either I fix this or it's not going to work. And the thing is that when you see other people being successful and having and making money from trading and all of this, you're like, if they are doing it, why can't I do it? And that's when you sit back and analyze and you say, okay, I'm not doing it because I'm over trading, I'm over leveraging, I'm not following my plan, I have no risk management, like everything is wrong. So I started fixing things, like slowly fixing those things. I started taking one trade per day, whether it was a win or a loss, that was it. And I started limiting myself. I started reading trading books. Trading in the Zone is a great book. So that one really helped me out a lot. All those things slowly started building up, and it got to the point where you're like, okay, what am I here to do? You're here to make money. That's the only reason why I started trading. And if I want to make money, I need to follow this process. If I don't follow this process, I'm going to lose. So it's that simple. Like, you just have to shift the mindset from gambling into like, this is a legitimate business. Even for challenges, the way that I look at challenges, you're making an investment to get capital. Once you get that capital, you make money. With that money, you can reinvest to get more funding, more challenges, right? It's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business.
Definitely. Did you change other things like in life that helped you to so what was the change that you made in your daily life?
I feel like everything regarding like the routine, what I would do, what I would eat, like the gym, all those things definitely impacted me. Because how do I explain it to you? When you have a good like energy, when you have good energy coming into the market, believe it or not, that will translate to the chart. Before, I would just wake up, eat a bunch of food, stay at home all day watching television, enter a trade, keep watching. Like, I wasn't really being productive. I didn't have a routine. I didn't have a schedule. I had nothing, right? Once you make that transition, not only is your life going to get better, your trading is going to reflect those changes. So I truly believe that myself. Like, I think if you have a good routine, good habits, it will translate over to the charts. You'll be more disciplined and you'll actually follow your plan a lot more.
I totally agree with you on that as well. So let's talk a little bit about the technical part. What kind of trader are you? What instruments do you trade? And maybe if you would like, you can share your screen and show us a bit like how you analyze the charts and an example of a trade maybe.
Sure, let's do it. I'm a day trader and I trade mostly gold, GBP JPY, or USD JPY. Those are like the three main ones. I don't limit myself to those three. If I see a trading opportunity on like Euro USD, GBP USD, then I'll take it. And for the most part, my actual trading strategy is just trend continuation on a higher time frame and correlating it with the lower time frame. So it's simple market structure. I don't like to overcomplicate the analysis because I feel like the analysis is one part and then there's various parts to actually being profitable: psychology, risk management, risk to reward. Those three paired with a simple analysis is more than enough, because over a series of trades, it's not just like, did I win or lose this trade? I'm just going to give you like an insight into my thought process, right? What I think about when I'm entering a trade is, am I following my plan, right? I have a plan, I have a process to get into a trade. That's going to be the same for every single trade. My mindset on winning and losing is, if I followed my plan, that's a win. If I didn't, that's a loss. What can I do to follow my plan the next time? Because at the end of the day, once I enter a trade and I put that stop loss, I put that take profit, I have no control over price. The only control is like the actual process that I followed. And the only way to be consistent is to continuously follow the same process. That's how I like to attack like trading in general. And technical analysis is just a small section of the big picture of being profitable. So we can definitely I can definitely show you the charts. We'll go over like a few trades that I took this week and I can talk about it for sure. So these were two trades that I took this week. Two buy positions on USD JPY. These were the two trades, and I'm going to show you why I was in buy positions here. So the first thing, I'm going to give you like a brief breakdown. The first thing that I like to do is check the higher time frames, right? Because I feel like the higher time frames are super, super important, at least for my strategy and for what I look for. So we're looking at the trend on the higher time frames. I see that the trend is bullish, right? So right away, the weekly is bullish. I go down to the daily. The daily is also bullish. And then I go to the 4 hour. When I took that trade, the 4 hour was right here. So it was also bullish. We were tapping into this previous level. So when I analyze the trend on those different timeframes and I see that everything is bullish, right away, that tells me I'm looking for buys. I don't care if the market is like going down. My process says that I'm looking for buy positions because the higher timeframes are bullish. Then what I did here was I simply analyzed and I said, where is the best area that price can create a higher low to then continue moving up on a higher time frame? And if we go to the daily, we have this level right here. We have previous resistance, and now could be acting as support. So that was my area where I said, if price were to come back and create a higher low, more than likely the probability is in my favor that it's going to happen around this area here. So from that point, I had my level drawn and I would go to a lower time frame. That lower time frame that I like to do is the 1 hour. So I came to the 1 hour, and as you can see, this was the first trade of the week, and price came right into our level, also came into our psychological level. So I like using psychological round numbers. In this case, it was 145,000. We get a tap into our psychological level. We have this low, higher low, we broke previous high. So essentially just following market structure here, that gave me my entry, because if you notice here, right, we create this low, which was the one that tapped into our levels. We then created this high, higher low, higher high, retest of previous resistance that's now acting as support. And once we got to that level, that gave me my entry to go to the upside. So it's like, I don't really like to overcomplicate my trading, but essentially I'm just following market structure and putting the higher time frames with the lower time frames in sync. So I'm looking at the higher time frame. If that's bullish, then I go to the lower time frame. And if you notice this here on the 1 hour, it's not really bullish. It's coming down, creating lower lows. So it's in reality, it's bearish. But what we're doing is identifying the shift from bearish to bullish on the 1 hour. So now every single time frame is in sync to go to the upside. So that was the first trade. And then the second trade, this one I had to cut short. We had a level of supply here, but essentially what I was doing here was, when you go to the 4 hour, we have a break above our previous resistance, which is this right here. And now I was simply waiting for a retest into this level to continue the move to the upside. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get the entire move because we rejected from that level. So I did have to close that trade early, but that's what I was looking for. I was simply looking for a continuation of the bullish move.
So do you use 1 hour for execution, or you drop even lower?
Yeah, no, I like to keep it at around 30 minutes or 1 hour for the execution. And I'm looking I'm just looking for areas where I can get in and continue the overall move of the market. So I don't trade against it. It's crazy because when I first started trading, it was the complete opposite. Even to like 2 years ago, instead of doing what I'm doing now, I would like to sell when it was high and buy when it was low, because in my mind, I thought that was like, I'll get the most profits, the most opportunity. When in reality, when you're trading with the trend like we are here, the probabilities are in your favor a lot more. So simply by just trading with the trend alone, that gives you an edge already. When you add in all the extra stuff that you're looking for an actual entry, that's when you get like the real edge in the market.
So you mentioned before, like, which were the most important things according to you in trading, and you mentioned risk to reward and risk management. So how do you manage your trades, and do you have, like, what kind of rules do you have for the risk to reward and for your risk management?
So for me, I take one trade per day. My minimum risk to reward is a 1 to 3. So with my win rate, with how my strategy performs, a 1 to 3 is like minimum. We need at least that in order to be profitable long term, right? So I can't do 1 to 1 or anything like that. So 1 to 3 minimum. And then when it comes to risk to actually trade management, when I'm at a 1 to 1, my stop loss goes to break even automatically. Because I've had many instances where price goes in your favor and then you end up losing the trade, and that is the worst feeling ever. So from my personal experience, it's better to actually secure and have a risk-free trade than to just let it run and do whatever it's going to do. Now that I mentioned secure, that's one thing that I don't do. I don't secure any profits along the way. It's either going to get to break even, a loss, or a 1 to 3. So I hold it all the way, unless like the market is closing, it's a Friday, or it's the end of New York session and nothing, like the price is just in the same place, then I close it before getting to Asia. But for the most part, enter 1 to 1, stop loss to break even, and let the trade run. It's either a break even trade or a 1 to 3.
So for example, for this second trade that you took, you said that you had to like cut it shorter.
Right.
Do you have like a specific thing that you're looking for that is showing you a sign, okay, I should like take the profits here, or how do you do that?
Okay, so let me explain. This second trade right here, I noticed a few things, but the biggest thing that I was looking at for this trade, I had entered this trade, and then that was during London, if I'm not mistaken. And then the next day I took a trade on gold, and I had them both at the same time. So I was buying USDJPY and selling gold because they're opposites. The trade for gold was already past the 1 to 3, and I saw this one struggling to go up. So this one was I closed this one at a 1 to 2.1. I noticed that the 1 hour has a small level of supply right here, and that gold trade moved so quick in my favor. It was like a 1 to 3.6, 1 to 3.7, something like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to close the gold trade, and I'm also going to close this one, because this, like, that's it. It's getting to where it already did what it had to do, right? So that led me to actually close this trade, and I'm glad that I did, because it just continued going down afterwards. It would have been a break-even trade if I didn't.
Let's talk a little bit about the risk management. Do you use the same risk management on challenges as you do on your funded accounts? And do you play with your risk management depending on how much profit or loss you have on the account?
So for me, I have seen like multiple ways to do it. For me, I think the best way, and the one that has worked for me, is to keep the same risk consistently. Now it's gone lower before I had 1% risk. That was my go-to. 1% risk per trade, one trade per day. But now since I've scaled up the capital so much, I've lowered to 0.5. And the only reason why I do that is because it's harder. Like I have to lose 20 trades in a row in order to lose my accounts. And that's like kind of unrealistic. So it's possible, but it's not realistic. So I feel like that's the best way to actually preserve the capital. I don't really change the risk. So for example, if I'm risking 0.5% now and I win a trade, that's 1.5% profit because of 1 to 3, right? If I were to risk more in the next trade, what happens if I lose? The risk to reward is not going to match. It's not going to be consistent. So I maintain the same risk on every single trade. No matter if I'm up 8% on the account, 10%, however many percent, it's still going to be 0.5.
What was the most memorable moment in your trading journey?
Well, believe it or not, I think the moment that I will never forget, it was a huge experience, was the first prop firm that I ever passed. It was a different prop firm. I did a 300K account. The first one failed. The second one, I passed the account. I got the live account. The first week I made 54K and I blew it the next Monday. Yeah. I traded news, lost more than what I was allowed to lose in a day because of the slippage. And that day, that was a traumatizing experience because I was like, okay, I passed my account. I have 300K in funding. I had a great week. I made 54K in the first week in profits. And then the following Monday, I blew everything simply by over leveraging and trading like heavy news. It was like CPI. Right away, that even though it was like traumatizing, it was also eye-opener because that was even after making the money with options. So that was after coming into the actual prop firm space. That was eye-opener because I was like, all right, I need to calm down. I need to take it easy. I need to understand that even though we made a crazy amount of money in options in a very short amount of time, it doesn't mean that it's going to be consistent. Let's look for consistency instead of a lot of money. And I kind of made the change and started working on all those things we've covered so far. And that's what like really made the difference long term.
So how did trading change you as a person, and how did it influence different aspects of your life?
Well, yeah, I think it's changed me in a positive way. I'm a very by nature, super impatient person. And I feel like this has forced me to be patient in every single aspect of life. And not just that, but like I'm impatient towards everything, specifically towards like goals, right? Because whenever I set a goal, I'm like, all right, I want to obtain this, but I want it now. You know, I'm working towards it, but I expect results quick. And I feel like trading took that away completely because now I look at everything in a longer perspective, like long term. Before it was all like short term, let's try to do this quick. Now it's all like, it's really shifted my mindset in terms of being patient and looking at life differently. So that's one of the biggest like changes that I've noticed with my personal self regarding trading, for sure.
So what is the plan moving forward? What are your future goals? Where do you see yourself like in 3 years or 5 years from now?
Moving forward, I mean, right now I'm focused on the whole prop firm space. I'm currently funded with 2 million. Hopefully by the end of this year, I have the challenges. I'm working on them as we speak, but hopefully very soon in the next few months, we'll be at 4 million. And then from there, I'll probably just sit back, lower the risk even more, continue trading day in and day out, and then just take it easy, think long term, and you know, try to make as much money as I can while being, you know, preservative with the capital and not losing the accounts. That's the main goal for me, like with being funded, is not to make 300K in a month, right? It's to make consistent profits every single month. And when you scale up like to a large amount of capital, it allows you to do it without risking that much. And that's why that's like one of my biggest goals. Aside from that, I'm working on like a community and an academy and all those things, which are great. But my main focus is like being consistent with those accounts. And once I get them, try as hard as possible not to lose them, just to be funded for a very long time.
That's amazing. So when you mentioned the prop firms, how did you find TFT and how is your experience with us?
So I actually found the Funded Trader through YouTube, and the experience has been great. Like when I first got introduced, it was a different prop firm. I was kind of like sketched out because there was so many new prop firms coming out. Like it was crazy. But TFT, like surprisingly, it's very, very good. Like the experience has been crazy. It's actually even faster, like for payouts and everything like that, than some of the other prop firms that I've been for like way longer. So it's been a great experience. It's a great experience. And I feel like this is a great opportunity for like every single person that's a trader. Like now is the time to start trading. If like now is the time, because we have so many opportunities, the Funded Trader, many other different prop firms that offer capital, and you can scale this to such a level that like many people don't even realize what opportunity is in front of them with like all these options that we have. So it's actually a great time to be a trader and to trade.
Definitely. So before we finish, what would you tell to yourself if you're about to start now with all the experience and knowledge that you have?
If I was about to start now, I would tell myself to be more patient, to focus instead of looking for that perfect strategy. When I started out, I wanted to never lose, right? Instead of focusing on that, I should have focused on my psychology. The risk aspect of trading is like super, super important. Preserving your capital is like the key. So I would focus on that, and I would stick to one strategy, not change around so much, and keep that one strategy consistent, because now I've learned that, the strategy is not everything. So if I maintain the same strategy, the same process, that will allow me to work on my psychology, my risk management, and everything else that comes with it, aside from like actually trading and the strategy.
Any last words that you would like to share with us?
The last few tips that I can give beginner traders is that they should always journal the trades that they take. I feel like that was also a big game changer for me. So journal every trade, review it on the weekends. And I feel like as long as you don't give up, you will find the success. And one thing that really, really like changed everything for me was actually seeing the results. Before, when I wasn't making money, I didn't see any big results. I was kind of like, yeah, this is okay, but I feel like it's a scam. When you actually get that first big payout, or you actually see your work come into like fruition, that's when you'll say, you know what, I'm never quitting this because I know it's real. And when you figure out that it is real, you will like fall in love with it and actually take it more serious than most traders do at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. The reward gives you motivation to
for sure.
to definitely keep pushing harder and like do the job properly, not like playing with it as we usually do at the beginning.
You take it more serious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an amazing interview. I wish you best of luck with your goals, and I hope that we're going to have a follow-up interview in the future to check how the progress is going, and so that you can share tips with traders and show how you can stay consistent, because many people struggle actually with keeping their accounts. They would pass a challenge, they would get funded, but then the struggle comes with like how to keep the account and
maintaining the account.
Exactly. Okay, thank you once again. I wish you best of luck with everything.
Awesome, Anna. Thank you so much for everything as well. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure for me as well. And to all of you watching, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and show us some love in the comments down below. Trade safe, and until next time.